So why don't we start before we attune, just introducing ourselves and where we are, what your name is, and what brings you here today. Anybody can start.
Well, my name is Brian, Walter Brian, actually. The Walter is my father's name. I use Walter for all my business dealings and doctors and banking and things like that. But Brian is my middle name, and that was a name that my mom wanted, and I that's the one that stuck. I'm here to I'm just getting started with Pathwork. I've been involved with a number of lessons already, gone online, did some Zoom chats with Zoom lessons, and I just find it to be most intriguing. I find that I really is helping me learn more about myself and others. But maybe I'm a little late to this game, but better late than never, I suppose. So, I'm excited and much intrigued about everything that we're doing here. So,
welcome, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We can hear you.
just to make sure. My name is Nora. I live in Belgium, the northern part of Belgium, not far from about 20 minutes from the Dutch border. I know Brian very well because he's my helper. And I see some familiar faces from some videos I've seen. I think your name is Dan with the blue coat. Yeah, and I'm here because I love, if I can, time-wise, to attend Brian's teachings on the lectures. And I remember with the GPS group has done something on lecture 149, but as often with these lectures, I find, it's always good to refresh. Sometimes, one tends to forget about these teachings. So yeah, that's why I'm here again. It's
welcome,
good to
Nora.
Nice to see you, Nora.
You're muted.
Yes, sorry. Yes, now? It's okay? Yes, okay. I'm Tomas from Spain. I'm living in Spain, in the north of Spain. So, yes, I received a mail about this workshop, and I am interested in, I have been reading the lectures of Eva Pierrakos. And yeah, and I think it's very interesting as a way of self-knowledge. And yeah, I teach yoga, so it's not only for me is a need, but for me it's a need, but also I think it's a nice and a good path to present a healing process, of a healing methodology, internal healing, and also to know the inner obstacles that make the life quite miserable.
Oh my God.
So this is the main purpose, and especially in this moment of my life. And I think, I think I need something to look internally. So this is what brought me here.
Welcome, Tomas. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm Miriam. I live in North Andover, Massachusetts, and I am a Mid-Atlantic Pathwork helper. And this is my very first symposium that I have attended, and I'm really excited. So I'll see you all this weekend.
Well, I'll go. I'm Dan. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I've been involved in the path work since the 1989. I have to speak to my excitement. It's so awesome to see that, you know, folks from so far afield can participate through Zoom. So Tomas, it's great to have you. Very wonderful to have you. And just wanted to say that. So yeah, 149 is a lecture that really speaks to me. You know, I was having a conversation with someone one time, and it's like, yeah, lecture 149, that's the only lecture you ever need. The thing is, you know, lots of the lectures have that same effect. So I'm just looking forward to, you know, hearing more about that and really getting to feel into, you know, to what the lecture is communicating to me.
Welcome, Dan. Glad you're here. Esther, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Esther Mulroy from Swampscott, Massachusetts, and I apologize for running late, but glad I got here.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to learning about cosmic pull.
Mm-hmm. I like your blue and yellow too. That's quite a popular set of colors
Oh, thank you.
right now.
Yeah, with Ukraine, you mean? Yeah, right.
So my name is Brian. I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Tomas, it's on the East Coast of the United States, about right in the middle of that. And I stumbled on the pathwork in 1993, and the first few years was just clinging to it for salvation. And once I started really realizing that there was so much grace here, I didn't have to do it all by myself, right? With my mind trying to penetrate and understand, things became easier, though that took a while. And part of how they can be more flowing, the grace can be more flowing in this work, is part of what I hope to share today. So I'm going to invite you to just find a comfortable place on your seat and just let your eyes soften and go inside for a moment. And hear these words from the guide, from the cosmic pull. A great stream of divine strength and blessings permeates you and flows around you as a powerful yet peaceful and gentle force. Visualize this energy right now, like a cool breeze on a hot day. Feel it on your skin. Gently touching and awakening any part of you that feels cold, stiff, numb, painful, resistant. The more you allow yourself to feel it, the better it is. Feel it like the pleasure current. It is the pleasure current calmly filling any place in you you allow to open. Feel it like a creative current, a healing flow, an infusion of wisdom. It is all these things. Visualize yourself now in nature. There's a gentle stream that's moving. There's a leaf floating on the top of the water. Very gently being moved by the stream. We are the leaf, and the cosmic pull is the stream. Even when the water speeds up, goes through rocks, round rocks, the leaf just stays where it is on the top of the water, letting the stream guide it without any effort, just flowing around any obstacles that appear. This is the cosmic pull. Let yourself be aware of this force, the life force. Ask for its help, for a deeper understanding than ever before. The grace is here inside us, all around us, helping us take another step on this path of finding ourselves. Now consciously breathe it in with a few breaths, and as you do, feel the ingoing breath already meeting this energy inside you. The cosmic pull permeates every particle of our being on every level. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The cosmic pull is pleasure. It is happiness. It is bliss. It's right here, right now. Nothing to do to get it. Just allow more and more. Taking your time, coming back. So we could just stay like this and it would be terrific. So I will be talking about things that are helpful and useful. What we really want to do is have a part of us stay in this sweet surrender to the deeper level of reality than what our mind itself can grasp. And I want to welcome Kent Peterson and Pat. And I'll just give you a moment to land here and invite you to say your own name and where you are and what's bringing you here today.
My name is Kent. I'm in a fog, and you brought me here today. I felt the calling and the longing.
Mm.
My name is Pat, and I'm in Charlottesville, and I'm here because I like working with you, Brian.
Mhm. Welcome, Pat.
And I'm Teresa visiting Pat and Kent, and that's why I'm here with you, Brian.
Glad to have you. So we were just in a brief guided meditation to experience the cosmic pull, the life force, the pleasure principle, the grace, creativity, whatever name you give it, it is all these things and more. So this is actually what's real, this cosmic pull. It goes through everything in the universe. And in those moments where we inevitably, as humans, often find ourselves out of touch with this, it's really our greatest and most painful illusion, right? Because now we're left with this thought and this feeling that we have to find something. We have to get something that we don't have. And even more painfully, that we have to be something else than what we are now, right? That there's something wrong with us that we're not feeling it. So consider that there's nothing we have to do but be willing to allow and to feel our natural desire for aliveness and pleasure. What the guide tells us is that just being aligned with our longing, our desire for aliveness and pleasure creates a self-sustaining, self-augmenting process of being part of this great force, life stream. This cosmic pull is the evolutionary force itself. It's the reality that is in everything, every one of us, no matter how distant or vague it might feel. it not only permeates every particle of existence, it exists deep in each one of us, whether we're aware of it or not. This force is not only in you, it is you. And where we doubt it, distrust it, block it, now we're divided against ourselves in the most painful way. So what is really at the heart of so much of the pain and distress that the world is in around us, and also where it's inside us, is separation, where we don't feel a part of things. We don't see others as a part of us, right? And the whole plan of evolution is uniting all these 7 billion individual consciousnesses that are walking around on the planet, right? It's only in this way that the artificial boundaries of separation, like which country you come from, what race you are, what your social or economic class is, it's only in surrendering to this plan of evolution that the cosmic pull is a part of us, that wants to bring us together. This is the only way separateness can be eliminated. We can't do it just like on the mental level. So what the guide is saying in this teaching that strikes me so deeply is this, the guide's own words. Only the actual contact of one individual with another creates conditions for true inner union. Only the actual contact of one person with another can true inner union happen. It's not something we do up on a mountaintop by ourselves, right? Something that happens in the presence with another. When all our feelings from our personal history arise, all our self-doubt, all our sense of inferiority or superiority even. So this pull towards union is a tremendous force. And it's moving us toward each other, right? And where we resist it, which is a natural result of our individual consciousness, what we have is separateness, pain, emptiness, right? So this really brings me to a fascinating part of this work, which is in the pathwork, we spend a lot of time, there's a lot of practical wisdom about looking at our wounding, our fixed patterns of behavior, our defenses, the vicious circles we create as pseudo-solutions, and so forth and so on. And this is really essential and necessary and rich work, right? And yet, all that work just brings us to a place where we face that. I've faced all that wounding. I've opened up to it. I've integrated it. And I still feel separate, right? So the risk is that we start getting disillusioned with our path, our personal path, right? Like, wow, after all these years, I'm still feeling separate, still feeling pain, boredom, disconnection, right? Well, what the guide is asking us to look at is, in addition to all the wounding that we're called to work on and address, there's a part of us that just is determined to stay separate just from the fact of our individual consciousness, right? So from the place of this individual consciousness that comes from our mind, right? It can't imagine for a moment of letting go and surrendering to any cosmic pull, right? Now I'll just be a zombie, right? I'll be giving up my autonomy, my individuality, right? So this is a very common trap for most of us, because as human beings, the primary tool we use is our mind, right? Our intellect. Understand things, break them down into smaller pieces. Yet remember what the guide tells us, that the purpose of the mind, the ego, is to really call on the inner knowing, right? And this inner knowing is something that is somewhat dormant in most of us, because most of the things we need to do in life, to pay the bills, raise children, have careers, values this mind cognitive function, right? So we end up in this place where we're like in our mind, like on a small island in the ocean. We're afraid of what's out there. We can't figure our way out of this place. So what do we do? Well, the path work invites us to do is to remember over and over again that we have to consciously and actively shift our identification from this bag of bones with this skin, this driver's license, this bank account, this personal history, to the larger self. And, well, what is that larger self? Well, each one of us is called to find our own experience of that. It's not a thought, right? It's not like something we can read and go, okay, I get it now. So we could look at it a dozen different ways, this larger consciousness, and they would all have some merit and value. Yet it's really a step above our normal day-to-day thinking. So we're going to look at it in a couple of different ways today, and just get a taste, a glimmer of it, plants a seed. Because we go, oh, I felt that for a moment, right? And that's enough to awaken an appetite, a longing. Oh, I want to feel that again. So each one of us here is completely different, no matter how much alike we want to be or think we are, right? And this is part of the mystery, that there is no one like me, no one like each one of you. As Rumi says, we're a drop in the ocean, yet this larger self, we're also the ocean in a drop, right? Consider for a moment that if you were the only person left on the planet, that would be enough. It's like the hologram. Some of you know what that is, right? They can use lasers and they can create a three-dimensional image where you're sitting there and you're right in the middle of it. And each little part of the hologram has the entire picture in it. So what I'm inviting you to do is really to consider that in addition to all the hard work that you're doing on looking at yourself, healing yourself, there's an essential part of this work where it's just like letting go and surrendering to the cosmic pull. I'm just going to pause here for a moment and remind you that if you have any questions or yes buts, those are welcome too, right? We're really wanting to mix it up here. That any question or objection you have, somebody else is feeling it too, or it wouldn't be in you. That's the interesting thing about being in a group like this, right? Whatever you're thinking, at least one or two other people in the circle are thinking it too. So let's take a moment here and
The thought occurred to me that because it stirred up a feeling of like sadness coupled with it and fear to receive. So being able to integrate that with what I felt like in the meditation, which was totally more of a joy feeling. And so is the journey to try to intertwine those. Because also I've just learned about the pleasure principle and cruelty. So I wonder if there's any cautions like too.
could you say that last part again, Esther, please? About the pleasure and cruelty.
I forget what lecture that was, but it was about the pleasure principle being combined with, let's say, rejection of the mother.
Sure, yeah.
So how does the cosmic pull, I mean, it's not going to be a clean shot.
Right. So negative pleasure is one of those fascinating, multi-level, multi-dimensional teachings in the path work. Yet, specifically in relation to this lecture on the cosmic pull, the guide is saying our natural state, when we're just open to the life stream, the cosmic pull, the life force, the pleasure principle, is happiness. There's nothing we have to do to be happy. We're just in our surrender and trust to this larger, I want to call it intelligence, like for now, magic word arises. We're just naturally happy. So when we're resisting the cosmic pull from our individual consciousness that says, come on, Brian, that's just a lot of beautiful words. Don't surrender who you are to something you don't really know about for sure, right? That's just and it's afraid to let go. That's painful. So our natural response to pain is to try to numb ourselves, right? To not feel it. Well, Pathwork says that being numb is intolerable for a human being. You just can't. So now, in order to feel something, the easiest thing to do is to hurt somebody else, inflict pain, right? That now you get a vicarious pleasure of somebody feeling something. Why do we turn to pain? Well, we're already in pain in our separation from unity, oneness, right? The cosmic pull. So that's the first thing that comes up to move towards another. Does that help, Esther?
I'd like to add, I'm sorry, Esther, did you want to go on?
Please.
That we have different levels of reality, of existence. There are the ultimate ones, such as, you're describing in the cosmic pull, but in the form that we're in, there are other aspects, and that sure feels like reality. And it's like our work is to integrate all of them if we're to survive. And still have the ultimate goal where we are, as the guide says, inexorably moving toward unity. If only we could just go, whoosh, and there we are. But there are steps of it, and we're in this physical form, and we have to navigate this while pulling toward our, whatever we believe our ultimate state is. 135.
Okay, Miriam.
Yeah.
So remember, it would be human nature to feel like some of this is vague, right? And let's just hang out with that for a moment. What the challenge is for you. Remember, we're human beings, yet we've come to think we're human doings, right? So we have this thought that we have to be doing something for something good to happen. So now the guide is inviting us just to let go and be happy. Right? Like what does that seem odd or strange or, yeah, beautiful saying, but, when the call's over, I got to go back to my life. And this work is really hard in some of its aspects, yet there's an aspect even larger that it's really about letting go and trusting the benign, intelligent, caring, loving force of the cosmic pull, the life stream.
I can share something. Teresa, I sort of think of you as a cosmic force. You were the maid of honor at our wedding. We've been friends a long time. We haven't seen you for years, since before COVID. You felt a pull to come and be with your beloved sister that would make you fly across the country just to see her for a few days. So you arrive, we have a nice dinner, we connect the way old friends do, and it's nice to be together. We go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, you knock on our bedroom door. There you are in your pajamas. You leap into our bed with us. We all three snuggle together and spend the next hour reading the New York Times spelling bee and crossword puzzle.
Wow.
I mean, how can I not feel the cosmic force of your love and your friendship
Wow.
and the oneness and the togetherness
Mm.
that takes us from separation and brings us snuggling into one bed.
Right. Wow.
So thank you.
Wow.
There is a level of intimacy that, it's interesting. You use the word of separateness, and without being separate or recognizing what is separate in the container, you don't, or for me, I'm not able to recognize the unity without one or the other, right? So in one way there is separateness, and in the other way it is all inclusive. Me.
I'm deeply moved. Yeah. Nora, were you going to share something? I saw you unmuted yourself there. And...
I'm not sure what I'm going to say now, but
Mhm.
I am moved by what Ken just shared. And I was thinking, how lovely that must feel to feel so comfortable, with one another, and at the same time, it takes me also to that place within me where the longing is there to feel that togetherness, to be so comfortable with another human being, and at the same time, I'm so afraid of it.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see
Mhm.
what is that makes one so afraid of the other.
Mhm.
And there's, on the other hand, that longing for it so much, because that's the pull, right?
Mhm.
But it's the pull that keeps us. We want to, and we don't want to. Well, for me, it's interesting to feel that even in that moment that Kent was sharing, that how that
Mhm.
feels for me.
Right. Thank you, Nora. Yeah. So what you said is a really beautiful example of whatever our personal history is in life, what we've been through, the wounding, painful experiences. That part is definitely going to say, don't open up, you're just going to get hurt again. Right? Teresa and Pat and Kent can have that, but you can't have that. No. Right? Yet, the invitation here is an addition to that very real pain and doubt, There's a part of us this is, no, that's just too dangerous. You get into that bed with those two and you'll just want more connection and you'll be disappointed. Don't even start, right? Again, we're invited to look at here is there's a real part of us that's blameless. That's just our humanity that says, I will not give up my individuality. No. And that we're never going to convince this part of us to let go. It's terrified of letting go. So it will actually hijack our wounding to keep us from letting go. Right? That's what actually is behind a lot of what keeps the pain body going over and over again, no matter how much work we do on it. This individual consciousness is poking it with a needle, Rig, saying, I got to stop this. Right?
So I was just to follow up on that. Of course, I do have had moments in my life, fortunately, where I have felt that unity, where you're almost find yourself almost in a transcendental place, where you arise, or it feels like you almost arise above yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had these moments, of course, in my life, or in intimate relationship where that feeling is so strong, that there's this connectedness, that a part of you that is usually the controlling part just falls away, and then you can just be with that person without any. And probably the challenge is I was thinking about that activation part. So I think there's this, when we become aware of that fear, where we are in, to call upon those active, or those powers, the powers that we have, to say, okay, this is how I'm feeling now, but I want to really change those feelings. I want to allow more love in my life, or well, it seems that's what the ego, or the ego's job is, to call upon those forces to help us to let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you here, Nora. You're really speaking the voice in each one of us here, right? So what I hear you saying is, Brian, in that moment of activation, I need more help than I feel like I'm getting. Right? It's just that part of what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe that needs time, maybe it needs time. I can call upon those forces to help me with that, to change those feelings, but maybe it just needs time.
So this is quite a mystical lecture, the Cosmic Bowl. So I'm just going to invite all of us here to consider that in those moments we each have, like the one that Nora's describing, we each have an edge, right? Where we're facing a block, we just don't know how to get over it, right? Well, it reminds me of this beautiful line in another lecture where the guide says, a block does not yield to willing. It only yields to yielding, right? Like, we just can't push ourselves through these moments that Nora's describing, that we all have. So the block only yields to yielding. That yielding is this Just saying, okay, cosmic pull, I'm yours. Just take me. Right. And it's really a step up in faith and surrender than what the mind and the emotional body think is possible in that moment. Right. It's like stepping on an elevator and going up a floor. Right. We're still afraid, we still feel stuck, yet we're in that moment activating a higher consciousness, like, help me remember I'm an angel in a human body temporarily, and I came here with this piece of consciousness that feels so stuck in order to transform it out of love. This is what I'm doing here in this incarnation, right? I feel like that's a lot of words, yet let's just hang out for a moment together, because this is really the key piece. Shifting the identification from the personal self to the spiritual self is the key. Like, what does that mean? Like, how can I in this moment realize I'm a drop in the ocean in my individual consciousness, and yet the truth is I'm also the ocean in a drop. There's nothing to wait for. All the help I could ever want is right here, right now, right? So from the place of the personality and the history, I'm going, here I am again. This is who I am. I'm the one who can never open up, right? I'm the one, and I'll speak for myself. I'm the one who feels unlovable and hates myself because here I am again, unlovable. Well, from that place, I'm totally convinced that's who I am, right? So what I do really is say, help me. Please help me. I'm stuck. And you see, just in that, saying that, I've opened up to a larger possibility. And what the pathwork says that's so powerful is the moment I ask for help, there's an immediate influx of energy. There's no having to ask nicely, no mother may I, no have I been good enough, no haven't I already asked for so much already. Help me, God help me, whatever word you want to use. When I say God help me, I actually mean that like a swear word, you know, because I don't relate to the G word very much. You can feel the energy. It's taken a lot of practice for me to be able to just say it that way. God help me. Whew. I'm going to drown here. See, it's energetic. That's what gets us out of the mind, right? Because the way the energy is going when I'm feeling that I'm unlovable and my life is over, and you know, that's the collapse of energy. Right? So the piece I want to share is when I say that, God help me, I don't have to figure anything out. I'm just pulling this big switch and shoo. That's really how it works. Remember, the individual consciousness is right there saying, there's nobody out there to help you. You see? I believe that most of my life. So the next piece for us to see who wants to engage in here is what the guide is reminding us. There's nothing to find, there's nothing to get that you don't have, that I don't have. It's all right here, right now. Whatever I need is right here, right now. Same for you. Right? Doesn't mean it's easy. Yet what's keeping us from the experience of it is it's not that we don't have it, it's just where we're temporarily disconnected from it. I want to open this up here. This is kind of, can be vague. Let's lift it out of vagueness. You know, like the saying goes, what happens in vagueness stays in vagueness, right?
Yeah, for me, you know, I kind of, at least for my mind, reduce down, you know, the fundamental or the primary reason why I am resistant, you know, why I have resistance to the cosmic pull and to the, you know, the life stream, is because I am very prone to judge aspects of myself and others, you know, and judgment is this mental activity that my ego mind is all about, so that it can protect me and keep me, you know, safe from, you know, what others are doing, keep me safe from the parts of me that threaten my sense of myself. It's all about judgment, and judgment is a very ingrained, you know, unconscious activity, you could say, in my mind, that is, you know, habituated. And I'm finding that, you know, to your point about opening, that as I notice myself judging whatever, if I open myself, or open to the possibility of being curious or even kind, and seeing, you know, towards this part of me that is judging, I can, I feel an energetic shift, you know, in that opening to the possibility. I kind of, you know, get on that elevator and go up a floor. I kind of leave this judging that I do and kind of transcend into kind of a much more open, openness and curiosity. And oftentimes it's like, wow, you know, it's indescribable. But when that happens, you know, I'm very open to the possibility of that moment in time where, you know, the three of you can, in that moment, realized, you know, we're completely and totally open to each other. You know, that split second.
Mm-hmm.
And just everything, the love that follows from that.
Right.
So for me, it's about this mental activity that's often unconscious, and I've had to spend a lot of time, you know, as part of the process. The first step is to see where I am judging
Yeah.
to recognize,
the individual consciousness at work.
yes,
Right.
and that I'm closed,
Uh-huh.
and you know, having that faith and trust that
Mhm.
there is a possibility to open, you know, energetically, to just stop judging, be curious, be kind.
Right. So I want to go to Brian in a minute. Yet, what Dan is helping us see here is that we have many emotional and psychological reasons for judging ourselves and judging others. And it can feel very difficult to stop those deeply ingrained lifelong patterns because our defense system is at work. Right? It's trying to keep us away from others, stop us from getting too close because it's saying you're going to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. Right? Yet what we're exploring here today, that in addition to that, which would be enough all by itself to keep us separate, until we make room for the fact that our individual consciousness is afraid of the greater reality that above my mental level, there's only one consciousness, there's only one person in that bed, one being in that bed of three people, right? That is actually real. It's not just something that's a sweet thought, right? So Brian.
As I'm listening here, I just can't help but to feel that a lot of these issues of far being able to move forward in, I guess, in our own consciousness is fear. Fear of opening up to ourselves, opening them up to other people and how they may judge you. And it's such an obstacle in our lives, and we all have that. And being able to open up and allow yourself to take a chance. If you don't take a chance, you'll never really fully enjoy joy, just plain joy.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that chance and you don't open up and you stay fearful, you'll be in a stagnant state forever and ever. You can never move forward. You can never truly be a higher self.
Yeah.
And as to your story, Kent, I just couldn't help but to feel what joy it was in that moment that all of you had, and the fact that it's such a part of your who you are, and as a group, as friends, to be able to experience that joy and never forget it. And again, if you don't take that chance and you don't jump into the bed, that man, what a powerful, beautiful story that was. And here again, I really couldn't help but listening to everybody, just feeling that fear is the biggest obstacles of us moving forward and truly being ourselves.
Thank you, Brian. Teresa, I've never met you that I know of before this. I certainly feel like I've met you now. And what you are for me today is an inspiration to spontaneity. Just do it. Just do it, Brian.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. You know, the moment that I jumped into the bed, you know, you have to understand the level of intimacy that Kent and Pat and I allow ourselves is with the good, bad, ugly, scared, and joyful. There is permission to bring all of it. You know, so there isn't this separateness. It's the separateness and all of this. And the illusion of it not being safe is the illusion. The fact that we can jump into bed, you know, metaphorically, is the safety. It's the comfort. It's my blanket. It's who I want to be with, to be seen. You know, really pure love. And I just feel so much gratitude and appreciation because I get it, you know, it's like, I want you all to get it, you know, and even in the moments of like, when you listen to a baby laugh on the playground and it stirs that innocence of playfulness in your soul, you know, you know, for myself, I have to check into that time because, you know, I'm a very serious person, you know, I'm a professional and I'm serious and I take care of people and, you know, and I'm very judgmental, you know, and I have a standard of engagement if you want to play with me, you know. But the bare nakedness of permission, self-permission, very, very powerful.
Thank you, Teresa. Tomas, did you have anything you wanted to share? I just like you're muted.
Yes, I'm sorry that my English is not very good. And,
It's good enough.
I'm not used to the American accent, so sometimes I miss many things. Yes, I was just thinking what Brian said about the fear. Yeah, fear. This sense of separation is right now is very strong.
Yeah.
I know that there is, for me, it's like this cosmic pool is like the space, and the space is surrounding everybody, surrounds everybody. But and I know that we are breathing the same space, but still, I feel separated from the others.
Right.
And then you know, when I'm in the middle of this isolation, I try to remember that yes, of course, no, there is we are breathing the same air, and there is the same air is surrounded us, but still the sense of me is very strong. And then there is, yes, when I forget that, it's very difficult for me to remain all the time in that awareness of this mystery, this awareness of this, it's a push and pull, and of course, when I am in touch with this force, I get peace. And I get sadness as well. I feel sad because I'm not, it's a joy, there is a peace with joy and sadness at the same time, all together.
Right.
Yeah, and there's like a feeling of limitation internally. I feel limited not to remain in that space.
Yeah.
I try, but
right.
Sometimes I find myself, I'm pretending. I'm pretending to feel that, but really when something doesn't happen the way that I like, you know, it's confronting me, how real is that experience?
So what I witness here, and what you're saying, what Brian said and others have said, from the place of our individual consciousness, it just seems out of reach to let go. Right? It just, we're right up against the, don't know how to get through that. And we think it's because of our wounding, and the wounding has some part in that, yet the guide is asking us here to consider that it's our individual consciousness that says, don't do that. Yet the cosmic pull that is much more powerful is just wanting to pick us up and bring us together, right? Bring Pat and Kent and Teresa together, bring you and I and the rest of us together here today, right? So that what I'm inviting you to do here is consider that instead of trying so hard, we want to just realize there's a larger force at work that's completely safe no matter what happens, right? That is much greater than our fear, that is much greater than our resistance. Yet we have to open up to this larger force in order to overcome the smaller force that's running the show right now. It's deciding our life day to day. Just let the seed of this be planted today, even if it takes a while to sprout and grow. So I want to say a couple more things around this. One is the subject of pleasure, right? The guide says the cosmic pull is pleasure itself. There's no difference between pleasure and the cosmic pull. And this is one of the revolutionary teachings of the pathwork, because most of our cultures have this idea that pleasure is not too good to have too much of, right? You have to keep it under control. Yet the guide is saying that, look, pleasure is a form of grace. Human beings are here to feel pleasure. So the guide is saying in this lecture, look, if you're feeling pleasure, it's because in this moment you've let go to the cosmic pull. It's not about the object of the moment that you are assigning the pleasure to. So for example, when I have a bowl of chocolate chip mint ice cream, I'm feeling pleasure. And my individual consciousness says, yeah, you're feeling pleasure because you're having your favorite ice cream, of course. I've come to say it isn't even about the ice cream. Notice what's happening to me as I'm eating the ice cream. Oh, so good. The ice cream is just the stool that I'm standing on to feel the pleasure, right? That this is exactly the kind of pleasure we can have once we realize that that's who we are as human beings. It's not that we're creatures of suffering, like most of us think we are. We're creatures of pleasure. We came here to feel pleasure, so what's in the way, right? Feel the pleasure independent of the object. So actually there are times now when I actually say, okay, instead of a bowl of ice cream, let's see if we can just sit here and have the pleasure. And I'll start by visualizing the bowl of ice cream. It's getting a little softer. It's just right. Ooh. So the subject of frustration is brought up at the end of this lecture, and I just wanted to say a few things about it, because just like pleasure, we think that what's bringing us pleasure is whatever object is in front of us at the moment. You can't be a human being and not feel frustration. It's just part and parcel of that experience, right? Yeah, what the pathwork is saying here is that what's frustrating is not what you think is frustrating. That what you think is frustrating is just a temporary situation. Really, what's frustrating is this temporary situation is just putting right in your face how you're resisting the cosmic pull. So my reoccurring example of that, some of you heard before, is I hate it when I'm in the grocery store and I'm wanting to zip in and zip out, and there's two people with their carts right in front of me blocking my way. If that wasn't enough, what's even worse, they don't even know I'm there. Ah! I could tell you, even after being here with you and talking about it, if I were to go to the store this afternoon and this would happen, I'd be right in that frustration again, right? So the mind says, well, of course, Brian, they're being rude, and one of your wounds is not being seen, not being valued. Like, of course you're frustrated. Come here, let me make you feel better. Well, that's only somewhat helpful, right? Actually, what's happening is these people actually don't know I'm there. So, there's no intention to dismiss me or not value me. That's my assignment on what's just a random event in life. So, what's behind my frustration? The part of me that doesn't want to surrender to the cosmic pull, that's saying, just sit here for a moment and breathe. Who knows what good could come of that? I might just standing there run into an old friend I hadn't seen for a couple of years, but even if nothing happened in this moment, I'm just doing this human practice of just being in the what is. That's a lot of what surrendering to the cosmic pull is. Right? So, I'm going to invite each of you now to just take a moment and visualize one of your moments of reoccurring frustration. Probably pretty close by.
I've got some.
Okay, let's.
I actually had one yesterday, and it's reoccurring, and it's around people not replying to me, or like this was they were going to install batteries for the solar panels, and made an appointment, and I did everything, agreed the time, and I'm waiting. We moved all the stuff out of the utility room, the washing machine, the dishwasher, the dryer and all that. And then I'm waiting and nobody comes, and I've on the phone a couple of times and I can't even get through to them. I send an email, no reply. And that's always these reoccurring things where I always end up like so unprofessional. When people don't reply or don't notify me, yeah, it's such a reoccurring thing that's happening. You ask somebody something and they say they will get back to you, and they don't. That really always that leaves me feel so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
because you can't change it.
Right. So, Nora, thank you for your sharing here. Because remember, there are two things going on. One is our own personal history and wounding and our defense against that. And there's a whole parallel stream of our resistance to surrendering to what is, right? Can you feel both of those going on here?
Yeah, I do, because it's all in how I react to what occurs. Because maybe there's other things that happen where I don't react to emotionally. I don't feel any frustration, but the person next to me gets totally wound up about the thing.
Yeah.
So where I'm thinking that wouldn't bother me, but it's just, in that moment,
Mhm.
I cannot surrender to what because it's just a happening. I don't need to react to it.
Mhm.
As you say, I can leave it open. Maybe it was a good thing. Otherwise, a guy would have come here and he was not so very good in installing them or whatever,
Yeah,
So, I mean, if I would be able to force that, what I want to have happen,
Mhm.
that would maybe let me miss out on something. So we don't know what the story wants to tell us, or can bring us. But it's the frustration that this shows me that there's something more to be seen in that
Mhm.
experience of frustration,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. So both are true. We're called to resource the emotionally wounded part of us that really is upset. It's having the 1001th recreation of the childhood hurt, right? And also this other, just surrender, like you said, this is what is. Nobody's showing up today. Okay, so what am I going to do now? Right?
Mhm.
Anyone else here around this? Either the feeling, the pleasure without the object, or considering that a great part of our frustration in life is where we're not surrendering to the cosmic pull, so now we're wanting things to go our way from our individual consciousness that says this is the most important thing right now, is that it happened this way, right? We've got a couple minutes left here. Let's see if there's some way hearing your own voice would be good for you. Feeling your energy here in the circle.
Well, I have a situation where I feel my dad's still living. He's 101 and still very sharp. And so I always had felt his disapproval. Like, I think, first of all, I wasn't a boy. And I have an older brother. So it was mostly about him. But it's just interesting that no matter what, I feel his disapproval, and he's got some. So then I would just write off any of his advice because I was stuck. Oh, he disapproves of me, because it was different from what I was doing. So in a situation that's going on right now, I am feeling like tons more open to go with that flow.
Mhm.
And so I'm still kind of feeling the disapproval a little bit. And also being able to hear the advice, which is financially a sound advice. and trying to find a balance.
Mhm. I guess I feel you getting some of that experience, and really, when it's a parent, that is the most challenging of all situations, really, in my experience. Remember, nobody knows how to push our buttons like our parents do because they're the ones that installed them.
Mm. Like right now, I find myself avoiding him.
Yeah.
He's right next door, so
Sometimes
pull it together here.
sometimes some space is important.
Mm.
So I'm going to invite us to find another place on our seat for a moment and let the eyes soften again. Let the breath just breathe us for a moment. And visualize yourself like that leaf floating on the top of the surface of this stream. At times moving very gently, other times moving more quickly than our comfort zone would prefer. Yet all along it's carrying us forward. Obstacles like rocks appear in front of us, and suddenly we're swept around them, still moving forward. Finally, the stream slows down. We come to a stop. The water's very still and quiet. We just come to rest and hear a voice from inside us that says, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. Inviting you to open your eyes again and to unmute yourself. Take a moment and unmute yourself and invite you to really just look at each face on the screen and say in different ways, I'm here with you.
I'm here with
I'm
you.
here with you.
I'm here with
Here
you.
with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I'm really here with you.
I'm here with you.
Please stay here with me. I need you here with me. Jump into the bed with me.
Come on in.
Story
Plenty of
for a
room.
long time.
Thank you so much, everybody. And may all the blessings that are inside us and surrounding us really find their way through to our awareness and recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you,
Vlad.
Brian.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Until. Tomas, so glad you were here with us today.
Thank you.
Good for you. Good to be here with you too, Brian.
Thank you, you too, Brian. And I'll always remember your chocolate chip ice cream. I wrote it down.
Mint.
Mint. I got it down here. Chocolate chip mint.
All right, gentlemen.
Be
Until
well,
soon, my brothers.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.